It may just be the error. I was saying I record the video so I
Okay.
can, yeah, have them for reference. And now let me share my screen again. Portion of the screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And today is, I'm going to kind of give you an overview of the program. We're just going to discuss what
Okay.
to look forward to. And also, it's completely interactive. So if you have any questions while I'm discussing the program, feel free to say, hey, I have a question. And so, welcome, Stephanie, and congratulations on investing in your financial future and your financial freedom. Together, we'll use my proprietary four-step financial freedom framework to transform your mindset, master your money, and to create wealth, and most importantly, time, money, and location freedom. I am Coach Sapphire Star, the owner and founder of Organized Chaos, and we help hundreds of women and entrepreneurs pay off debt, fix their credit, start their businesses, and improve their overall financial health. Our philosophy is we partner with people to turn their passions into profits. I started Organized Chaos officially during the pandemic in 2020, but I had started my financial freedom journey in 2009.
Okay.
And it took me 3 years to pay off $33,000 of debt, save to invest, fire my boss, start my company, and then I began traveling the world. I've been to 27 different countries and counting, showing others how to live freely by empowering their money mindset, mastering their finances, and owning their future through real estate investing. And so after I became financial free, I was always, because I was just so passionate about helping others, because I realized what financial freedom had done for me. I was like, man, I want to share this with others. So for a long time, I was just helping people. It wasn't a business. It was just me helping people that needed help with their finances. And then for a long time. And so fast forward 7 years later, I was like, I think I should start a business. So the business officially started in 2020, but I have been doing this for a long time prior to that, especially once I discovered what financial freedom could do for me. And so just a little bit of the overview of the program today. We're doing your 90-minute discovery call where we're going to do a little bit more deep dive into your financial goals.
Okay.
And the program over the 90 days includes 60-minute virtual coaching calls. And my approach to financial wellness is a very holistic approach. I start with the mindset,
Hmm.
then actions, and then results. Because most coaches, like I think I told you before, most coaches start with actions, do step one, step two, step three to get
Hmm.
results. However, I feel our beliefs regulates our actions, and our actions then allows to get results. And so if we're not addressing our beliefs and what we believe around money,
Okay.
then we have a tendency to revert back to our old behaviors, because if you don't believe that you can make something happen, why would you even try? And so
Yes.
it's very, very important that we start from the mindset and address any limiting beliefs or scarcity mindsets that may be lingering in the background that could be creating blocks for you to achieve these goals that you have, because you have the ability to create wealth. You have the ability to have, whatever your heart desires, to be financially free, to not worry about money. You have the ability to do that. And so it really starts with that. So over the, 90 days, we start with that, but we also go into my framework with the actions and then getting the results. Also, weekly check-ins and resources I provide, as well as tools for tracking process and accountability.
Okay, perfect.
Mhm. And so today we are going to review just the current financial snapshot and discuss the things you filled out on the form that I sent you and exactly
Okay.
what is financial coaching
Okay.
and why does that matter. We're going to discuss your top three financial goals. Again, I'm going to introduce my four-step financial freedom framework, and then we're going to talk about setting your intentions and defining success. And when I say success, is really about what success means to you as a result of going through this program. Ultimately, what you would like to see as a
Mhm.
result of going through this 90-day program. And so I first want to start with, well, what is financial coaching? Because I am a financial wellness coach, I'm a financial coach, but you may hear terms like financial planning, and some people use these terms interchangeably. But I wanted to first explain exactly what is financial coaching. Financial coaching is A financial coach is a trained professional who collaborates with you and guide you to reach your financial goals. It's just that simple. We partner with you. The process is personalized and it is non-judgmental. This is a safe space. How the young kids say, we listen and we don't judge. I firmly believe that here because when it comes to financial management and financial wellness, most times we don't know what we don't know. And this is not something that we are formally taught. And so, especially not in school, so if our parents aren't teaching it to us and we're not getting a formal education, a lot of times we're forced to deal with it when we are in a bind. And a lot of people have these challenges. So I want to let you know that you are not alone. And also, too, I always tell people they feel like, oh, if I made more money, but the reality is, even if you did make more money, if you didn't have a system to manage your money, you would still be broke. You will still be struggling with money because the reality is when it comes to money, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And if you are making, let's say you're making I don't know, a $500,000 a year. Let's say you're making $500,000 a year. But if you're spending $550,000 a year, you're essentially in a deficit. You're essentially working with a negative residual. And so I always tell people it doesn't matter because if you're making $10,000 a year and you're only spending $1,000 a year in expenses, then you're doing far better than someone who's making a $500,000 a year. And so we provide support, encouragement, accountability, and tools to help you. Hold on, moving this thing out the way. To help you make informed decisions. Because essentially, you are the expert in your life, and we are partnering with you. And coaching helps you connect to you, your wisdom, and allow you to take action to create the life that you deserve and that you desire. So, how do we do that? We do that by um, collaborating with you and helping you decide, well, what are my financial goals? And helping you clarify that vision. What is your vision for your life? What are your beliefs? And then helping you create goals. And I always say SMART goals. SMART goals, SMART. Have you ever heard of the acronym SMART?
I feel like I have. Do I remember what it means? Probably not, but I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah. You probably heard it before, but just a refresher. It's an acronym that stands for uh, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So it's creating goals that are very specific to what it is you want. Like some people, they may say, well, I want to make more money, but that's not very specific, right? So if you're saying I want to make $10,000, that's more specific. And so SMART goals are aligned with specific things that you want. Then the M is measurable. Can you measure that? How can you measure that? Right? Saying if I want to make $10,000 and you break that up into a monthly measurement, or if you want to save $10,000, or if you want to save $12,000 to make it easier, you can say, well, okay, I'm going to save $1,000 a month. You can measure that over time.
Okay.
Attainable, making sure that it's something that you feel like, even if you may have some anxiety or doubt around it, is not something that's too far-fetched or you don't feel like it's in your reach. So something that's attainable, something that's realistic, and something that is time bound. So creating those goals, specific, measurable, within reach in a timely manner that you are specific about. So instead of saying I want to make a lot of money, it's like, oh, or I want to save a lot of money. It's like, oh, I want to save $20,000 by December of 2025 by saving so
Yeah.
much, money a month. And so that's what we mean by setting those SMART goals. And then we help you with creating a plan and then making it happen. Because it's
Okay.
not enough just to set a goal, right? It's like it's not enough. We have to align actions with our goals to get results. Remember, I talked about the belief cycle. So belief, action, and results. And that's how we help you achieve the things that you want to achieve. And we do that by my proprietary four-step financial freedom framework. And we create frameworks because it kind of helps you during this journey in putting things in perspective in terms of, okay, like, what am I doing? What is the direction? And that's why I created this framework to keep it super simple, but to give you something that you can easily digest and have an understanding of and attach it to your financial journey. And the four steps are very simple. And like I said before, we start and work on the mindset. So shifting your money mindset. And what I mean by that is shifting from a limited or scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. I'll give an example. Growing up, I was told that you will always have debt. So that was my belief
Yeah.
all the way into adulthood. So I never thought to say, oh, let me try to get out of debt because I was told you will always have debt. So my
Yes.
actions were pretty much lined up with my beliefs. Like, okay, I'm going to have debt. And it wasn't until one day I was at work and one of my colleagues, we were watching a show, a reality show, and the guy, like one of those shows where the guy had like 20 kids and he's like building a house for his kids. And he was like, yeah, I'm doing this debt free. And I chuckled. I was like, that's not possible. Right? I'm like, that's not possible. And my coworker, my colleague, she was like, no, that is possible. I'm debt free and my parents are debt free. And she shared with me her journey. And that moment changed my life because guess what? It shifted my beliefs. It
Yeah.
shifted my limited thinking. And now it's once someone told me that this is possible, I'm like, oh, well, how can I make this happen? Right. And so that then took me from the shifting from a limited mindset to an abundance mindset. And then that goes into the next step, which is the financial planning, which
Okay.
is the action, right? Having a plan for my money, for my debt, for my savings. And that's where a budget comes in. If I was to tell people any singular thing that you can do to create financial freedom and create wealth, do a budget. You would be surprised. A budget, think of a budget as that a financial roadmap or the roadmap to your financial goals,
Okay.
because that's how you're going to get there. Just imagine if you were trying to go to New York from Orlando and you hopped on 95 South. You're not going to get there. You're going to be in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having a map with clear destination of, okay, where am I?
Hmm.
Where am I going? How am I going to get there and follow it? So that is exactly what a budget does for you. And we're going to go more into that as we go throughout the 90 days. And then we have the credit and the debt, which
Hmm.
credit is probably one of the most like powerful tools that we can use to leverage and
Mhm.
create wealth in our lives, but we also have to be responsible with understanding, well, how does credit work? Because debt is big business. Companies are making millions and millions of dollars at the expense of our financial illiteracy. So once we learn how this works and use it into our favor, then we can learn how to use other people's money to make
Mhm.
money, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
And then the last step in the framework is investing for wealth because financial freedom, money management, and then financial freedom, these are the first steps to creating wealth. Because once you get rid of the burden of debt, now you have residual income, and the residual income is just money you have left over, like you have your income, you have expenses, and what you have left over when you subtract the two, that is called residual income. And so the thing
Okay.
is, okay, what are we doing with this residual income? You hear people say, okay, pay yourself. And basically, when they say pay yourself, they just mean make sure you have money saved. And then
Yeah.
beyond that, how can you learn to make your money work for you? I always tell my clients, you want to buy back your time. You want to be able to create a life where you're not worried about money. You're not living paycheck to paycheck. You can have time to spend with your family, your loved ones, or something come up.
Hmm.
Learn how to buy back your time. And you do that with learning how to make your money work for you, having multiple streams of income and putting your money to work. Because the reality is, you only can work so much physically one, two, maybe three. I've never heard anybody working three jobs, but you could
No,
have two
I've
jobs in the side
exhausted.
hustle. You got two jobs in the side hustle. But really you only could do so much physically, mentally, emotionally. But the reality is your money can work far harder for you and your money can literally work while you are sleeping. So that's
Yeah.
how you're going to be able to buy back your time. That's how you're going to be able to create wealth is through investing. And these are the things that we're going to talk about in the 90 days.
Okay.
And so here we have just a rough your action plans. And this is just based on the top three goals that you shared with me on
Hmm.
the financial snapshot form. I know you say you want to do budgeting, learn more about budgeting and money management. Now,
Yes.
I know you said that you currently are budgeting. How are like what tools are you using now for
I
budgeting?
literally have just a whiteboard.
You
And
have
I
what
every
now?
month I write down
Okay.
all the expenses and then what we have left over. Either I put the leftover to savings or try to pay more off on a credit card.
Okay, that's good. So you currently have a budgeting plan in place.
Yeah, I
I always
just feel
tell
like
people,
it
yeah.
might
Oh, go ahead.
not be working well. Because yes,
Okay.
I am doing this, but I feel like I'm still stuck. So I'm not sure if I'm doing it correctly.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. And maybe that will come from us maybe fine tuning in your
Okay.
goals, especially like when it comes to savings and debt and having like a clear strategy in
Yes.
terms of, like you said, but what am I doing with this residual income? And being like, okay, I have this left over. This is where it's going because this is the goal that I'm setting for it. And
Correct.
so that's what we'll go through when we do a deep dive into your goals, is looking at what you're currently doing and looking how we can maximize that and see where we can find the opportunity to get more out of it. But kudos to you because most of my clients don't budget. So kudos to you for
Thank
having, yeah, most people, and like for me, a long time I was always doing it in my head, but that's not realistic.
No, it's not. I always have to write something down. If I
That's
don't write
smart.
it down, it's out of my mind.
Exactly, exactly. And you don't really know, like you're guessing at that point. Whereas if you have it written down, you're very clear about it. Also, when things come up, you're like, oh no, I'm very clear. I got
Um,
this for this, that for that, I don't have it. And you know you don't have it, right? And so that's definitely a good place to be and a great place to start. But we'll look at that. We may look at maybe, if you want to say, okay, if you want to get sophisticated and use apps or something like that for better tracking, we can do that too. But you have a foundation and that is awesome. That gives us something to work with and see where you are. But I always say keep it super simple. If it works for you, it works. We could just look at the system of it. We can also look at how do you like, because with your budget, you'll typically they say do your budget like a few days before the month comes in. So
Okay.
before, like we're in July right now, so the end of July, you'll be working on your August budget. And then are you tracking? Like you'll do your plan, but are you tracking what you're actually spending? And are you reviewing at the end of the month to see how on point or off you are with your planned budget every month? So those are
Yeah.
some things that we are going to look at. I know you say you did not have an emergency fund
No,
saved
we
up.
just started our savings
Okay.
in June.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we started in June because there were many emergencies at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Uh, so that held us back. But as far as apps, I have tried to use apps before, but
Hmm.
because it's out of sight, out of mind for me, it didn't work.
Yeah.
That's why I brought this whiteboard and literally I look at it all day.
I
It's
love
on.
that.
So I can't, for me, apps don't work. I'm more of a, I have to write it down or
Yeah.
something in front of
You need
me.
to see it. Yeah, I love that. I'm the same way. I'm old school. Like I use the apps, um, but I also like write down as well. I use the app because the app that I use, they have a desktop and they have a mobile version. So the
Okay.
apps help me in terms of the tracking. Remember, I said you have
Yeah.
your
Okay.
plan, but then the tracking part of it is like, okay, how do I keep up with that? Especially like I'm in the store, it's so easy for me to go to the app real quick, like, oh, okay, I spent this and keep moving,
Okay.
versus, some people may, if you're using a whiteboard, you may just keep your receipts and then at the end of every week go off and add everything up and then tally it. So there's still a way for you to track it, but that's one of the reasons I use the app because it just, especially like it's because we always have our phone in our hand
Yes, that is true.
and it just kind of helps with tracking. But we're gonna go over some of those things, like I said, maximizing what you're already doing, and just if you want to look at, because I use Every Dollar, which
I
is a
think
zero.
I've heard of it. I don't remember which one I used. Honestly, it was years ago that I tried.
Yeah, yeah, and I use the free version of Every Dollar. 'Cause I think they have like a paid version or something like that, but I use because I think the paid version that you can link your bank account and all that stuff, which is fine if that works for you. But for me, like I said, the most important thing is for me to be able to track as I'm going. So, but we'll do more of a deep dive with that,
Okay.
especially since that is one of your goals to see like, okay, where is the opportunity? How can you maximize that? And then also with the savings, we can come up with a savings goal that you feel comfortable with. And it's really based on because one of your goals is paying off debt.
Mhm.
And so depending on how much debt you have, you can create a savings goal that says, you know what, let me just save $1,000 and then pay down the debt, create a strategy and a debt elimination plan to pay off the debt. And then once all the debt is paid off, then you can move toward creating a fully funded emergency fund. And it's recommended that you have 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved
Yeah.
in for emergency fund. But that's also a comfort level as well, because I know for me, I felt more comfortable with 12 months in my savings.
Mhm.
But I'm always leaving the country, so that's a different story. And I'll be gone for like a long time. So I'm always thinking about, okay, I want to live somewhere and be
Oh,
gone.
yeah.
So, but minimally 3 months.
Okay, that's fine.
Minimally 3 months. But again, what do you, and you say you married or you just got married?
Yes, we got
Yeah,
married
like,
this year. Hmm.
yes. What do you and your husband feel comfortable with in the savings? And that's what and then that would be the goal, right? And
Yeah.
so again, when it comes to paying off your debt, we'll look and see, okay, what is the debt? What do you have left over when it comes to once the bills and everything are paid, and create in a debt elimination plan to do that. And so we'll use the debt snowball. Have you heard of the debt snowball method?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And so the debt snowball is essentially lifting your debts from smallest to largest based on the balance that you owe and just start tackling the debts and just paying minimum payments for all of them. And the smallest debt, you would just apply a small amount. I mean, you'll apply extra to that until it's paid off, and then you just roll it over until it's paid off. Do you know what your total debt is?
Debt, I can tell you, give me, it's mainly credit cards. Well, no, I'm lying. The the ones that I am focused on are mainly credit cards. After that, it's just my house and my school loans.
Okay.
So it is mainly credit cards. I have not put more into my school loans because
Are they in deferment or are you making payments?
I'm making payments,
Okay.
but I don't put more because they're on that like in 10 years they all erase or whatever, the debt
Yeah.
forgiveness. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
debt forgiveness.
I don't have
Yeah.
to pay the whole thing by the time I'm 50. Why am I putting more money? That was my thought. But again, I don't know if that's correct or not.
Yeah.
But
But we
as
can
far
look at that and see like because it really just is about what your goals are. The main thing is making the payments because obviously that's going to impact your credit score if you didn't make the payments.
correct.
And then looking at debt to income ratio, right? When it comes to once you get to a point of investing, how that debt to income ratio impacts your ability to leverage your credit. And so it
Oh,
may not have a huge impact, especially once you paid off everything else, because
mhm,
if you can get everything down to 30%, less than 30% utilization,
mhm.
then you can kind of ride that a little bit, right? Because that's one of those things like everybody has student loan debt. And so looking at, okay, in 10 years, when you add up all your payments, what that'll be versus what your actual debt is when it comes to it. So that's something that we will look at, but we'll look at all of it, like when it comes to all your debts. And the mortgage can be bottom of the line, right? And because that's also something, another tool that you can use to leverage to create wealth. So I know you said you guys want to invest in real estate. So
For
um
sure.
being able to maximize that. But I'm not one of those ones like be like, oh, pay off your mortgage early. That's not my ministry.
Uh,
That's not, I do believe in, having a plan, a strategy, a goal, obviously, but it really depends on what your overall picture is, right? And how you can use that and leverage that because a mortgage is something that you may possibly be able to leverage where someone else is paying that off versus you using your actual money. But
mhm.
it just really depends, right? How much you owe. When did you buy your house?
When?
Hmm.
20s, end of 2016, end of
Okay, so
2016.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've owned it a while. So yeah,
I'm
you're good.
here this year. I think it's 7 years, either 7 or 8 years this year.
10. Next year will be 10 years. 2016. That's 9 years now.
Oh, jeez, you see?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a beautiful thing because I'm sure you can be able to leverage equity that you have in that property to buy another property without selling the property, right? Like if you did like a HELOC or a home equity line of credit, you could take that money and use that as a down payment for a property. And then now you have a second property and getting tenants or however you want to do that to pay
Hmm.
that down and then rinse and repeat. Because now you guys talk about now you could do at some point a HELOC on that one, rinse and repeat. So again, so many things that you can do based on where you are, and it looks like you're in a good place to be able to start looking at those things. But that is something that we will look at and go into and see because leverage is the name of the game. I'm all about, I don't want to use my money, I'm using other people's money. So
I'm trying to
setting
figure
yourself up to be able to do that. Do you have what do you do for a living?
I have the virtual paralegal business.
Nice, look at you.
It is challenging this year. Managing the contractors. I feel like there's a difference in work of ethic with people nowadays.
Yes.
So it's been a challenge to keep consistent income.
I
Um,
understand.
so that's what we're
Are
dealing
you
with.
leveraging business credit to help you work through that?
I have opened a credit card account and my business partner has opened one. So in emergencies, we've been charging the
You have
overhead to
that.
that.
Okay.
It's not much overhead. I don't think we spend under 3,000.
Oh,
Uh,
nice. Nice.
yeah, so it's not much, but it's still there.
That's
Uh,
good. That's good.
yeah. We
Okay.
did look into a loan, but it didn't fit what we needed.
Okay. That's good. Okay, but that's good that you understand that and leveraging that. But yeah, I know how it is as an entrepreneur not having that steady stream, and that's why I always talk about having multiple streams of income too.
Like, all right,
And
look
looking
into the
at,
real estate.
yes, for sure. Yes, absolutely. That's why I have several businesses that I run. And real estate being the most lucrative for
Mm-hmm.
my businesses and stuff like that. So, okay, awesome. That's good to know. And just like you said, the action steps on here, the every dollar, the emergency fund, the debt snowball, and then key performance indicators are essentially setting those key performance indicators in terms of measuring your success and your goals and outcomes, and how are you going to do that, right? And so setting specific timelines that we talked about, when it comes to budget, obviously having a budget tracker or being able to track your expenses and income, what you're doing on your whiteboard. So having some type of way to budget that so you can see your progress over time. And you said the whiteboard, are you putting on paper as well, or just the whiteboard?
It was on paper, but I always lose the paper, so I put it on the whiteboard.
And my only thing with that is being able to create a system because the whiteboard you're erasing every month, right?
Um, yes and no, because it's
Oh,
mainly the same bills. I just put on the side like what we spend in groceries is a little different. Like we budget 800, but last month we spent 600. So I'm trying to see how much we spend this month.
gotcha, gotcha. And yeah, with a like on paper or a notebook or something, it's easier for you to go back and look
Mm.
at and even
Okay.
review over for the year as well, from month to month, but also annually to see how your spending habits and things, how they are shifting and how they are changing over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think probably I like to write. I'm like I probably can create an Excel because I do that for the business, but I
Oh,
think
nice.
for personal life, I like to have a notebook or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. A
So
notebook
I
or like
wrote
you said, an Excel worksheet or
that.
yeah, a dedicated notebook since you like to write it down and you like to see it, something that is always out and visible. I definitely recommend that. So you
Okay.
can see the changes over time and obviously make the adjustments too
Yeah.
as you go. And you can see averages as well as you're
Okay.
doing this over time. And then for the savings, depending on what we come, what that specific goal is, having a way to track that. And that could be something as simple as having, a savings account where you can see like, okay, this is how much I saved this month. I set out to save $1,000 and I saved $1,000, but something that you can say, okay, this is a key performance indicator. This is a measurement of the goal and how I set it, and this is a result of that, and this is how I measure it. And then the debt, the same thing. Obviously, creating a debt elimination plan and then seeing how the debt is being, how it's being decreased and at some point completely eliminated. So just being able to track that and reviewing your bills and stuff of that nature. So that's kind of like an overall strategy of what we are going to do in the next 90 days. But obviously
Okay.
we're gonna get a little deeper, a little bit more specific, a little bit more in the what they call it in the weeds. In the weeds of it. And so, like I said, our calls are broken up. And so we have the calls every other week, but
Okay.
it's also as flexible as, we just kind of coordinate our schedule. I don't know, like if you want to pick a day and time every week that works for you to give consistency. 'Cause I know we talked about for the discovery call, but what day and time normally would work for you for us to meet? And the call will be an hour. It wouldn't be this long.
It depends on the week.
Oh, it changes.
Yeah, because we have attorney meetings that are
Okay.
different every week.
Yeah.
And I take my son to therapies, so that's I'm like it
Okay.
depends.
Yeah, for sure. And so in that case, because sometimes with my clients, if they have a specific day and time that works, we'll just go ahead and book out all the calls. And then
Okay.
obviously if something changes, then we'll just adjust it. But in this case, we'll book out the next call on the call that we're on. So
Yes,
on this
yes.
call, we'll book out the next call and then we'll do that like that.
And that works.
Yes,
Uh,
for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so our next call, we will do more of the mindset stuff and mindset reset and money story. So just we'll go deep dive and explore your relationship with money, if there's any limiting beliefs that may need to be rewritten, and creating empowering affirmations for you to use to kind of help you navigate this. You seem like a very organized person. And so I think that this is definitely because I have the same personality. We're actually both Gemini. So I speak Gemini. So we're good.
Good. Date is your birthday?
My birthday is June 1st.
June 7th.
I know.
My
And I'm like,
husband
okay,
is the 21st, so we're all Geminis.
I love it. I love it. My best friend is the 7th. My brother is the 21st. And so, like I said, I speak Gemini. So I understand how our brains are wired. And I'm picking that up from you. So I totally get that because I'm a very organized person. But you see, my business is called Organized Chaos because Geminis, we can be like
Yes.
distracted very easily.
Yes.
And so I always say that because we're dynamic, we're multifaceted, right? People like to say crazy. I'm like, no, we're multifaceted.
Yeah.
And so we have the ability to do many things at once, which I believe is a superpower some people don't have. And so I do firmly believe with just a little bit of applied effort that we can create whatever that we want and whatever reality that we want and to keep us focused. As long as we have a strategy, have a plan, have something like you said to write down, to look at,
Yeah.
refer back to, then we're going to definitely make it happen. So I definitely believe that you are going to be great in everything that you say that you want to do. It's just probably a matter of us just kind of fine tuning it because you probably already well on your way. Just listening, talking to you, I can see that already.
So I did
Um,
write all my debts down. Did you want me to tell you now or next meeting?
we can go over that more details on that particular call. What was the total debt?
So for credit cards, I'm at
Uh-huh.
21,109.
Okay.
Then school loans, I'm at 167,000. And then I have
Okay.
the house. I'm at 200,000.
200,000. Okay, awesome. So we'll definitely look at knocking out at least the credit card debt. Okay.
Because I
And
figured my original plan was knock out the credit card debt. So for
mm-hmm.
the house, there is already a second loan.
Oh,
Um,
you already have a second. What's the second
yeah.
debt on that?
Oh, together. So the main mortgage is 192. The
Okay.
second loan is 39. So my original plan was to knock out all the credit cards and then focus on that second
That
loan.
second, yeah, I agree. Is that a HELOC? What is that second? Or is that for
Uh,
like a down payment assistance?
no, I think it was a HELOC. Yeah,
Is it still active?
what's a HELOC? What does, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Okay. But you owe, because I was getting ready to say like you owe 39,000, but what was
Mhm.
the total of that loan, that line of
45.
credit? Do you know?
45.
Oh, it was 45. Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, yeah. I totally agree with that. Knocking that down because you can always reuse that
Yeah.
once you get that paid down. So that'll be a great tool to be able to use to start your real estate investing journey. And then with that, especially if you're using it for real estate investing, you know, someone else will be paying that down the second time around versus you paying
And
that down.
I know, I know today I have with this, I have um at least 150,000 equity in the house.
Nice.
Like that's separate from this 39 that I owe.
Right.
Uh, so I'm like, okay, that's why I'm like, all right, I want to knock this out.
Yeah,
And
pay that down so you can use it. Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. So we'll definitely come up with a plan because let's say that's 21 and 39, so 40, 20, 60, about 60,000.
Yeah,
So we'll look at creating a debt elimination plan of 60,000 based on and this will come from when we do the budget. So we'll do the budget, see what you're working with, and then go from there in terms of creating the debt elimination strategy. So awesome, awesome. But the first call, like I said, we're going to go over money mindset. What's your money story? What's your beliefs around money? And kind of navigate from there. So that'll be our first call. And then our second call will be the budgeting, budgeting with purpose, refining your budget to reflect your values, learning about zero-based or value-aligned budgeting. And that's what the Every Dollar app kind of speaks on, whether you're doing it on paper or on an app or wherever you're doing this, it's basically based on zero-based budgeting. So all the money, every dollar is accounted for. So you have income, you have expenses, but also built into that is your debt and your savings. So
Okay.
at the end of all that, you want to have a zero balance. You don't have any, like every dollar needs to have a job.
Yeah.
Every single penny. And so that's what we're going to look at with the budgeting with a purpose and just fine tuning what you're already doing with your budgeting. And then the third call, which I'm probably going to switch this. I have emergency fund and savings system because I think the debt elimination. So I'm probably going to switch this. We'll see. But for now, the third call will be emergency fund and a savings system and plan
Okay.
and building your emergency fund strategy and automatically saving with purpose and discussing, okay, what is that saving goal? What does that look like for you in terms of, you and your husband and feeling comfortable with you and your family and what you would like as a nice little cushion. Because like I know you said you have like, well, I don't know if I know you said you use a credit card for reserves for your business, but also having a savings plan for your business as well is very important. I know we're doing
Yes.
personal finance, but I'm an entrepreneur too, so my brain is probably going to go back and forth with
That's
that.
fine.
So you're going to hear me say that, okay, make sure you have like so much saved for your business as well, just for, when things aren't, coming in smoothly, you also have those reserves. Because I know for my real estate business, I have about 5 to 10. I have about $5,000. My goal is 10,000, but I have at least $5,000
Okay.
allocated for each property. So
Okay, good.
coming up with a number, whatever that may be, to be like, okay, for this business, I want to have, and it could be the same thing. You can have 3 to 6 months of whatever your OpEx is for your business and a savings, or you could do 10% of your revenue every month. You can put that aside for your savings for your business. So
Okay.
those are some strategies that you can think of to start having like savings for your business as well. Um, then we have the debt elimination plan, creating a debt payoff plan using the snowball. And we're going to use the snowball method, but the difference between the two is one is basically listing the debt. The snowball is listing the debt from smallest to largest, tackling that
Hmm.
and knocking it out. And the avalanche is the reverse, where you are listing your debts from the highest interest to the lowest interest. And the main difference with the two is the thought behind it is the snowball, they feel like small wins kind of motivate and empower you to keep going.
Hmm.
Versus the avalanche method, the pros for that is being able to pay off debt and spend less in debt over time because you're taking out the things that have the highest interest. But typically, and especially like with what we have with yours, it's like, okay, we have a clear strategy of like credit cards second, and then everything else we'll kind of see. Like you said, you have a plan for your student loan debt to be forgiven in 10 years. So that's
Yeah.
already set up. And again, somebody else eventually paying off your mortgage as you start bringing in money from real estate investing. So there's a plan and strategy in place. It doesn't have to be your money, but you do have a plan for it. So that's the most important thing with that, using other people's money. So we'll go more deep dive into that and see what that timeline looks like for
Okay.
the 60 something thousand to be able to knock that out.
That's fine.
And um, and then the fifth call is habits and
I-
accountability, establishing money habits, weekly money days, and tracking budgeting consistently. We kind of talked about that a little bit previously about having a system and plan with that and being able to review it over time, just to kind of
Okay.
review your habits. And then the last call would be centered around investing in building wealth. I know you said you were already putting money to the side for retirement.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and you have children, right?
Yes, so I have it's my son and then my husband's son. So there's
Okay,
two boys.
two
Um,
boys.
for my son, I have already started since for a couple of years already, his 529.
College. Okay, nice,
And then I have a broker that handles my 401.
nice, nice, nice. Okay, awesome, awesome. And so we'll talk about those things, like you said, like the college savings for your kids and retirement savings with the 401k, but also, okay, what are some other and obviously you're maximizing that, but other investing strategies like real estate, entrepreneurship and having different businesses and stuff like that. So
Okay.
that would be what we talk about in the last call. But obviously this is something that's very organic and very fluid. So it really just depends. And, I'm talking about the structure, right? Having a structure and strategy in place, but also seeing where you are and how you feel and what direction you need to spend more time in, right? Because I'm all about, okay, we're providing education, but then in between the calls, it's about application, right? And
Yes.
so, okay, how are you applying the skills that I'm showing you and sharing with you to your everyday life? And that's where the weekly accountability comes in terms of checking in with
Yes.
that and seeing where you are based on what we talked about.
Okay.
And so the bonus touch points and resources are again the weekly email and text check-ins, budgeting planning tools based on your needs. A free copy of my book, Live Freely, Freedom to Work Whenever, Wherever, which shares my story of how I went from a teen mom growing up in the projects of Savannah, Georgia, to a globetrotting scientist, author, and financial wellness coach. And so I'm going to get your address at the end of the call so I can send you that book.
Thank you.
And at the end, personal financial plan plus a certificate.
Okay.
Yes. And so with that, I just wanted to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
Ask you a sorry, ask you a few questions, and are you ready to get started?
Yes.
So, what do you want to achieve from the 90-day personal coaching plan, ultimately?
I would say the top is keeping me focused on my goals.
I
Because I
got you.
can make them, but it's hard for me to stay focused
Focus.
others
Yes.
happen when something else happens. I would like more education on how to make money as I sleep and
Mm-hmm.
how to make money work better for me. Like I feel like I am already spread thin on just working in the business, but I'm like, I know there's something else has to give. I know there's something else that I'm not
Mm-hmm.
aware of, that will help. Um, I just like you mentioned that financial freedom, especially with our sons. I just want to teach them correctly now
Yeah.
to get started now. And then my son, he has autism, so it's difficult to even just get a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm like, those times where I'm stressing because the business is not consistent with income, at least I know I'm set up somewhere else. Um,
Yes.
so that's really important to me with him.
Awesome. Yes,
And
legacy, right? That's yeah. That's
like
that's
you,
that's the why.
yeah, I love traveling. And that was like one of the main reasons we started this business. I'm like, I despise being in the same place all the time. Like I
I
know
feel you.
I have to right now just suck it up because we're trying to like pay off these debts. But trust me, I'm on Skyscanner. I'm like, there has to be something under 100 just to get somewhere. Like I can drive, I don't know, drive somewhere, but
I
that's
know. Hop on a train or something, the Amtrak. because
Yeah.
I'm kind of doing the same thing. Like I'm at a place because like the past, I don't know, 5, 10 years, I have been traveling like a lot.
Mhm.
And I recently moved back to my hometown of Savannah, Georgia last year for the sole purpose of it really establishing my business as an in-person brand since I started during the pandemic and I was also living in Hawaii at the time. And
Okay.
most of my clients are, virtual, but I
Mhm.
also wanted because community is important to me. So I always so I wanted to have an in-person brand as well, but that
Okay.
requires me sitting still.
Yeah.
And I am fighting for my life.
I understand. I'm from New York and moving to Orlando, I'm like, I am bored. Like, I need to walk somewhere. I need to go to the corner store. I need to watch a show. Like, I am going crazy.
And I
So,
remember last year, I was like, oh, the train. So I hopped on the Amtrak. It was like $40 round trip, and I just went to Charleston. And that was so exciting. And I was like, how do I make this my new normal? So
yeah.
maybe explore the Amtrak because it's not
Yes.
that expensive and
That's,
it's so much simple and easy, especially with children.
yeah, before school starts in August, I'm like, in 2 weeks, I want to take my son somewhere. So I'm like, do we go to St. Augustine? Do we go to Savannah? Like, what is going to work best? Because I'm not flying
Yeah,
anywhere.
exactly.
Um, okay.
Exactly. So I totally understand. And I feel your passion, I feel your purpose, because that's right in line, especially with the focus. I remember my mentor taught me something, and it's an acronym for focus, and it stands for follow one course until successful.
Okay.
And that's basically FOCUS, right? Keep the main thing, and prioritizing because things always come up. And like I said, it's so easy for us to be distracted. But once we have the main thing, we're like, nope, I need to finish. I need to follow one course until successful. It doesn't mean I can't have multiple things, but I have to keep the main thing, and prioritize it. And if I have time for the other things, yes, but I can't take away from the thing that's the most important to me. If it's one thing or even maybe two or three things, keep those at the forefront. And obviously, like you know, in your experience, it comes with sacrifice, but Dave Ramsey used to always say, like, live like no one else so you can live like no one else, because
Yes.
this too shall pass. And so
Yes.
my next question I want to ask you is how best can I coach you? And what I mean by that is what is your learning style? Because I know everyone learned differently. And so what is your learning style or approach? Or what works for you?
Um, I'm very visual,
Okay.
and that's why I have to write things down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would say right now, with this new journey, I will need someone to just be on top of me and be like, this is what our goal is. Don't forget.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That helps me because I do understand that everyone learns differently, and my goal is to make sure that I am meeting you right where you are in the best way that works for you. And like I said, I speak Gemini, so I think we'll be great. I get it. Air signs.
yes.
Are there any other questions that you have for me right now?
Are you aware of um like I know I have the 529 for my son, but I have been told at some events for autism that there's other ways that I'm supposed to secure his money, so that when later on he applies for disability when he's 18, they don't use that towards his assets.
Mm.
So I'm trying to figure that out as well. Like that's a big thing for me. So I'm like, do I have the money in the correct account? Do I not? I'm not sure what I'm doing. Like for me, I tried to when I was just starting the business, I didn't have enough monthly um to survive, but of course to the government you have enough. And I tried to apply for disability, but I probably made like 1,000 more than
Mm.
they need it. And they were like, well, you have these assets, you have a 401k and you have the house. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't use that. So I don't want him to um, get in trouble later when he has to apply. So I'm trying to figure that out for him now.
Yeah. I'm not 100%, but I know that for, and this is just my experience with some people, people use real estate. Like I have some clients who, when they buy a property, they call them legacy properties, right, for their children. So
Okay.
their thought process is, oh, I'm buying this property, and then once my kid gets of age, I can sell this property, and this can be how I am creating wealth for my kids so they don't have to necessarily depend on these outside things. And you can
Mhm.
also put things and properties into what is called land trust, right?
Okay.
And so that way it doesn't count against you
Okay.
personally because it's a part of a business, right?
Okay.
And so people do things like that, but then also too, and maybe your broker can help you with this. I don't know if you have a custodial account for your son. I
No.
have one for my grandbaby where you can start investing in accounts for
Okay.
your kids, and they're called custodian accounts.
I'll
But
take a look.
that's talk to your broker about it because I actually invest in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds through the custodial account. I buy
Okay.
Apple stocks for my grandbaby.
Okay.
So when she becomes, I forget what the age is, it may be 18 or something like that. But these are, accounts that I can transfer over to her and she can then have access to that as well.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then once starting the investment journey, is it best to do it as a business?
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
absolutely 1000%.
Okay.
Because again,
And
you don't want these things counting against you personally.
so I know in when we were meeting with um, Patty when she was breaking down the taxes,
Hmm.
it's best to do those. Can those businesses be considered S corps?
That's definitely an accounting question, but like, for example, because I've heard you will hear different school of thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you my real estate business is the LLC taxed as an S corp, and it
Okay.
has its advantages. But what I
Hmm.
was told was this was someone said they say if you wanted to take the properties out of that type of setup is challenging. But
Okay.
I'm not really sure because I've heard school of thought say, yeah, this is how you do that with the LLC with the S corp, and then they'll be like, oh no, just LLC, and then have some kind of umbrella policy. There's so many different school of thoughts when it comes to that, but I opted for the LLC with the S corp, and then
Mhm.
you'll hear people say, well, do you set up an LLC for every property? Now, my mentor was like, no, because that's going to add up. All those
Yeah,
LLCs that you have to file for doesn't make sense
it's
when you
different.
start setting, yeah, when you start setting up businesses, it's not about how many properties you have in it, it's what's the value of the LLC.
Okay.
Obviously, if you have a house value at 250 and then you got a house value at 2 million, you're not going to put them in the same LLCs, but the value of the LLC is what matters. So if you got four properties at 250, then that one company is at 1 million. Then maybe you want to start adding to another LLC because obviously the LLC creates limited liability protection. And if
Yeah.
someone comes after you, they only can come after whatever the assets the business
Yeah.
has.
Okay.
So you're setting it up in terms of the value and not necessarily how many properties you have in there. You wouldn't
Okay.
necessarily do one unless that one was $1 million property. Then of
Yeah.
course that one would be by itself.
Yeah. Okay. That was my main question. I just didn't want to start something and then at the end of the day I screw him up when he turns 18.
Yes, yes, I totally understand that. And I
But I
think
did,
how old is your son?
I'm sorry?
How old is your son?
He's 5.
He's 5. Oh,
Yeah. But I
yeah, and
figured
you
if we are doing it together, as a couple, our my stepson is going to be 15 this year, so
mhm.
make sure that he's set up too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think you got, like I said, you have a plan. You have a strategy. You're like, I'm thinking about these things and you're having a conversation now. And yeah, it's because we can start talking about things now and then who knows what's going to happen in 5, 10 years.
I know.
with the way governments change, administration change, laws change,
Yes.
it's
It's a
like you may make a decision based on what the laws are today, and
yeah.
10 years from now, or 13 years now, from 18, they completely change everything. And so I think the main thing is to make sure you're doing all you can to
Okay.
set up him up in terms of how you can provide for him and not necessarily depending on anything else. Let that just be the gravy. You know
That
what I
is
mean? Like let everything else be the gravy on top because we just never know.
true. Especially nowadays.
Yeah, you just never know. So you have to just do all you can with what you have, and then that's why we have accountants and attorneys to help us. Like, all right, what do I need to do now to make sure this is done? And go ahead and set that up. That's what they get paid to do and help you structure and help you set up. So
Okay.
yes, for sure. And
Yeah.
then the last thing is, what's your biggest takeaway from the call today?
Um, track better.
Okay.
And um really make like focus on the goals, not
Okay.
like think of the bigger picture.
Bigger picture. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that.
Awesome. Awesome. Bigger picture vision. And so let's go ahead and schedule your next call, which is going to be the mindset and money call and rewriting your money story. And so I want you to start thinking about, like, what is your money story? What is your belief around money? And what have you learned about money up until this point? And where that has come from? And how does that make you feel about the future of your future money story? So that's the thing I want you to think about. And let's go ahead and synchronize the calendars. I know you said,
If you want to tell me what you have available first, it will be easier.
okay, let's see. So, is there a certain time that works that's preferably better for you, mornings or evening or afternoon?
I can fit it in whenever, as long
Okay,
as the time, yeah. And they're
okay.
an hour, correct?
They're an hour. I don't schedule calls on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
it's Monday through Thursday. And so I'm just, let's see. So we have, I know you were, did you say the 24th was open for you the last time? I
The
know in the
20,
email, I can't remember what you said about the 24th. It was something about the 24th.
oh, the 24th, I'm available between, I should be, if I take the little one to school, 9:30 and I usually leave around 2. So between 9:30 and 1, I'm free. And then after 3.
Okay, what about the 24th at 11 a.m.?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. I'm going to send you a link. It's going to come across like the discovery call did.
Hmm.
I'm going to send you a link for that for the 24th at 11 a.m. And again, we're going to be talking about your money story, your mindset, and beliefs.
Okay.
And obviously, if you have any questions anytime between now and then, feel free to shoot me a text or
Okay.
email. What you prefer, email or text?
Text is fine. You can text
Okay,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot me a text if you have any questions, and then yeah, we'll go from there. And if you need to reschedule, just shoot me a text, and then we can easily do that too.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay. And do you have any more questions?
No, I don't think so. When I start getting them, I'll write them down.
Oh, I need your address. I need your
Oh,
address
yes.
to send. Can you text me your address?
Yes, yes, I'll do that.
Okay, awesome. And I will send that out and get that out to you, and hopefully it'll be to you by the time we get on the call.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome, awesome. All right, I will talk to you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too.
Oh, wait, let's see. Share.